The University of Zadon. To Mrs. Saville, England. Zadon, New England, December 11th, 1716. I encountered a most peculiar town in my exploration of the colonies. Expecting another backwater without even cobbled roads, I was surprised by Romanesque paved concrete roadways and a university that would compare favorably with Cambridge, let alone the other place. Finding lodging was no bother, though I did note a certain air of unease. The bar, even, had a near solemn air. 'Twas there I chanced to hear an elderly gent griping that it had been better working the coal. I shall keep you apprised. Your affectionate brother, R. Walton. To Mrs. Saville, England. Kingsport, New England, December 15th, 1716. The mystery deepens. The locals shy from conversation. The university was unwilling to entertain, citing their purpose as education for those same locals. I did not press the university gatekeeper, as a shiver climbed my spine when their gaze lingered upon myself. Thus did I find myself travelled to a town apart, but better cheered and better informed. The university is new. According to a local politician who wishes to go nameless, it has less than 5 years to its heritage, and the builders and staff seem to have appeared in or just outside Zadon, with nary a witness of them traversing any of the nearby towns. Verily, I doubt that story, had I not seen the University of Zadon myself. For a place such as it to exist in the colonies defies belief to a greater extent than even such hints at supernatural or, dare I put in writing, infernal involvement. Zadon itself may hide some connection to the pit, but I shall yet ferret it out. Your affectionate brother, Robert Walton. To Mrs. Saville, England. Kingsport, New England, January 22nd, 1717. Apologies for my reticence. Pride overtook my tongue, and I wanted not admit my long failure regarding the mysteries of Zadon. The more I dig, the less I seem to know. I spoke with all I could, postmen, tradesmen, the harbour-master and the mayor here in Kingsport, and so many more. I even spoke with one who claimed to alum of the University of Zadon. If this be truth, then I cannot claim those walls as false advertisement of the education therein. We had long discourse on various classical works, which he proved to read in the original Greek and Latin just as well as I. Further, he made intelligent commentary on the scholarly merits of Herodotus, both as Cicero's father of history and as Plutarch's father of lies. Well, you know, I lean towards the latter, but the lad spoke well in favouring Herodotus as perhaps the first true chronicler, for all that he chronicled fables alongside genuine history. Ay, the weeds run amuck, for even that lad was found tongueless on aught regarding the true origins of the university, or even how long it has stood. I fear some dark pact has sealed away the truth, and it may take a holy light to cast aside the capering shadows. Your affectionate brother, R.W. To Mrs. Saville, England. Zadon, New England, January 28th, 1717. A clue, leastwise the barest hint of one, still more than in weeks previous. I chanced upon the mayor of Zadon at the general store yestereve, humble enough to buy his own flour, or else desperate. His eyes were yellowed and bloodshot, and he was in a state of dishabille quite unbecoming one of his station, but when I made desultory inquiry on his knowledge of the university, I was surprised to receive invite to his domicile. It was only as we approached the mayoral manse that I came to know his stature within Zadon. We sat together in the kitchen, his wife baking a thirded bread on account of my presence as a guest, and I recorded his words, for they seemed portentous. In dream, or mayhap not, I spoke with a man who styled himself Jesse. He asked me what I valued most, what I would give all to benefit. The children, I said, to his immediate rejoinder. Surely you mean their future. True, said I, agreeing. Would a university dedicated to their education suffice? He asked. Surely, said I, thinking it to be a fancy. The next day, construction had already begun. Local tradesmen were hired, for all that they could do, but the rest was done by folk that I've seen not before or since. Yet they were here, and the university stands tall. Further, this very manse changed that day, I swear it. I've found secrets, hidden doors and passages, journals that hint. But no, it is late, and I must resume my hunt on the morrow. Good evening to you, sir. I retire. In truth, it was scarce past midday, but his wife took no exception, and thus he vanished from my sight. The bread made solid food, being, in the words of the wife, 1 part each of rye, Indian, and wheat flour, and with a sweetening of molasses. Being Friday, we had cod as well, which made for a satisfying supper. I whiled away the afternoon and evening, wandering the manse for one of those fabled secret passages, but not availed themselves to my eyes. Secret they are indeed, else delusions of a fevered mind. I know not which theory to favour. Keep me in your prayers. Your affectionate brother, R. Walton. To Mrs. Saville, England, Kingsport, New England, February 25th, 1717. I am so tired. In the month since last I wrote, I have joined a dozen fruitless search parties and seen more broken parents than anyone should in a lifetime. The old salts by the harbor tell me that the last ship will be leaving tomorrow, and then no more for who knows how long, and so I write. The mayor and his wife had 2 little daughters. I saw pictures of them. They were the first to vanish. Mothers, wives, children. Only the men are spared, if spared it is. I stayed with the mayor for most of a month. Almost every day brought new heartbreak. I joined him once in one of his searches of the old manse. I was half certain that he was crazy. He walked up to a long-case clock. It might have been one of Clement's originals, based on the apparent age and wear, and he declared it to be new. My eyes could see the lie in that, and I knew my host to be a lunatic. So much loss might have broken any man, and I felt pity for him. And then he got a strange look in his yellowed, bloodshot eyes, and he twisted one of the adornments on the face of the clock case, and I heard a distinct click. The clock swung out from the wall, and behind it lay another hallway. It was lined with portraits, men and women of means, each well-appointed and of serious mien. A small bookcase stood upon one wall beneath the portrait of a striking woman in crimson, with auburn hair. The mayor ran his hand over the backs of the books, searching for some clue, some hint. I expected not, and so was surprised when a book slid away at his touch. He probed the gap and brought forth a hidden journal. It was then that movement caught my eye, and at my gasp the mayor also beheld that the painting above the bookcase had become animate. She looked at us, then down the hallway, then back at us, as if to suggest that we should follow her gaze. My spine prickled, and I followed her gaze, seeing now that every other portrait had turned in horror to face towards her. I looked back and saw her lips parted in cruel and unnatural grin, and I felt my heart freeze in my bosom. I dare not write more of my escape, but in this you may trust, my feet shall never return to those cursed holes. Pray for the town of Zadon, for the fallen one walks those streets, and I fear that none may be spared her passing. Your affectionate brother, Robert Walton. To Mrs. Saville, England. Kingsport, New England, March 18th, 1717. I have never seen so much snow. I have a third-story window in an inn facing the harbor, and the view was beyond belief. I had naught to do for a fortnight but stare out that window and bear witness. It stormed on the 27th of last month, and I, innocent as a child, thought it fearsome. 'Twas merely a typical nor'easter, but an old salt stayed at the inn and refused to go home, even when threatened. He foretold far worse, and cited his aching bones. Considering my last letter only made it out because of the warning of him or another like him, I did not entirely dismiss his words, but still regarded them as unlikely. More fool I. The 1st of March brought snow, and all but the foolish or desperate were forced to stay within. On the 4th the snow fell again, and a few flimsier dwellings collapsed. Braving the storm, many desperate were allowed entrance to the inn, but only through second-story windows, for there was too much snow to open the doors. That old salt sat in front of the fire, and seemed much pained. On the 7th of March the sky fell. The snow was packed, half blocking my room's window. The whole building creaked, and I feared that all of Kingsport would vanish beneath winter's blanket, never to be reborn. It was over a week before the roads cleared even to traverse, and even now drifts still lie hither and yon. I was not content, but chose to return to see the University of Zadon once more. The travel was hard, the road not fit, but I prevailed. What I found there! Zadon is no more. The university is gone as though it never was, and in hand, uplifted from the snowdrift concealing the owner, I saw a familiar journal. On its cover a name, Bathory. I burned it. However the pit found a gap in the Lord's grace to forge pact with that sorry mayor, I do not know. But I know this. It is by the Lord's grace that I was not in Zadon when the snow fell. Your affectionate brother, R.W.